Greetings, film connoisseurs, and welcome to the No Flim Flam Film Fan special holiday series, Beers and Cheers, where I taste a German beer from my advent calendar and pair it with a holiday film recommendation. Now, today we're doing a very special episode where I will be teaching you the guidelines that I use for deciding how to pair these special German beers with a special holiday film. And we decided to make this episode thanks to a letter from a viewer. Isn't that just special? And I have this letter right here, and I'm just going to read it to you because it touched me, and I thought, well, people should know. Dear No Flim Flam Film Fan, I need your help. My husband and I were planning a holiday date night. Aww. So, just like we used to when we were younger, we went out and bought a Bavarian Hell's Lager and two straws. Oh, sweet. We had the television ready to go, but after the first sip, we hit a true dilemma. Uh-oh. I thought the lager's smooth taste and subtle citrus afternotes would match perfectly with Jim Varney's silly yet subdued performance in Ernest Saves Christmas. Good point. Yeah. But my husband insisted that the beer's refreshing front notes and quiet acidic aftertaste could only be matched with the wild yet classical performances of the puppetry in A Muppet Christmas Carol. Oof. As you might expect, we were unable to compromise. Yeah, that's a tough decision. We've been here before. Could you please give us some guidelines on how best to pair beer with film? Yours truly, Joyless Jovi in Jersey. Oh. P.S. If you happen to know any good custody lawyer, I could really use the help as my husband took the kids and is now living inside a gingerbread display in Gimbel's department store. Well, oh, Jovi, Jovi, Jovi. You've hit upon a widely discussed issue among the sophisticated social circles of cinema-savvy seasonal sommeliers. Ernest or Muppet? Now, if you watched my Beers and Cheers lightning round episode, you'll have some idea of how I choose between the two, but let's develop this further. I have a few simple rules that I follow, and we're going to go over them right now. Something's missing here. Ah. Aha. Always best to teach with examples, I say. Now let's start taking these one by one over to the tasting room real quick with each one. Don't worry, won't take long. And just give a quick rundown of how I would pair each one of these with a film. Let's do it.
First up, we have this Bavarian wheat beer from a brewery with nearly 4 centuries of history. They source all their ingredients locally, should be fresh, should be appetizing. But which film would it best pair with? Cheers. Okay. Got the complex feel coming in strong up front, but as it finishes on the tongue, it's very smooth and relaxing, actually, I'd say. You think you're coming into it kind of intimidated by all that history behind it, but then when you sip it, smooth finish. You just puts you at ease, like a refreshing ballad from a stuffed pig or frog or whatever Gonzo is. Point being, a beer like this, very clearly Muppet beer. Next up, we have a Hell's Lager from a brewery with about 200 years of history behind it. Again, very locally, freshly sourced ingredients, but their facilities, from what I've heard, are very modernized. So, what kind of twist are we going for here? Let's find out. Looks like the other Hell's Loggers we've had, very bright, as the word actually means, remember? Yeah, going into it, I thought it was going to be very simple, but it's got some earthy complexities to it that elevate it above your typical lager. And while you might think traditional facilities are gonna, Charles Dickens and traditions and Christmas, they're very modernized. So the surprising complexity out of something seemingly simple, modern facilities, Ernest. Ernest saves Christmas right here. Hmm. Can't go wrong. Next up, we have an unfiltered Pilsner from a very recently established brewery in Hamburg. Maybe a little bit deeper hue than we usually get with the lagers, but similar. Let's see how it tastes. Cheers. Very straightforward. Little bit of bitterness, but very pleasant. Just simple, pleasant, with a bit of bitterness in it. Not complex enough for the Muppets. This is modern facility, straightforward beer with good quality. Ernest. Ernest saves Pilsner.
Hi there, friendly reminder to drink responsibly. Keep in mind, I'm not drinking these beers one right after the other. In fact, after tasting, I share them with people willing to share. Hey, if you're still watching, thanks a million. Why not like and subscribe? Helps me a bunch, doesn't hurt you at all, and might put you on Santa's nice list. Next up, we have a beer made in celebration of the Bavarian purity laws, a history and tradition in Bavaria that severely limits the ingredients that can be used to produce beer. This beer itself, hundreds of years of history behind it. But how's the taste? Clear, bright color. You can probably guess what we're in for, but let's give it a try. Simple ingredients, done right. You think of lagers, you think things are going to be simple and watery and boring, but mm, it just hits right. It's refreshing, it's clear. You can drink a lot of it and you feel like you're getting plenty of flavor with it, despite it seeming so simple from the start. Now, of course, a beer like this seems simple, but really just hits the notes perfectly. That's an Ernest Saves Christmas beer right there. Ernest. Almost done. We got another beer that is brewed according to the Bavarian purity laws and what? All right, eager to get started. Cheers. I mean, what else can I say? Bavarian purity laws, that right there tells you what you should be doing. The Muppets are just too chaotic and too complex for any kind of purity laws. My youth pastor went over this all the time growing up. If it's pure, it's earnest. There is no more simple form of comedy in the world. Bavarian purity laws, almost a guarantee it's got to be an Ernest movie. It would take quite the exception to not match Ernest with the Bavarian purity laws. So there you have it. There's a hardline rule. There you go. Simplifies things. So, Jovi, if you're watching, if you happen to get a beer that's from the Bavarian purity laws, stick with Ernest. Can't go wrong. Your husband will hopefully come back. I mean, I would.
It's the final beer. Here we go. Got ourselves a lager. Haven't had that before. I am enjoying this lager through telepathy. If you're still watching at the sixth beer here, then I congratulate you on your fortitude. The descriptions of this lager said it was a Vienna style lager with caramel notes in the aftertaste, and while I'm not normally one to follow exactly as the tasting notes are written, I have to say this one does actually have a legitimate caramel taste to it that is sweet and enjoyable. So, the final film pairing, Jovi, if you're watching, I'm going to say is you, the viewer. Oh, isn't that sweet? Just like that year the Time magazine put Person of the Year with just a mirror up front. No, I'm not gonna do that. If it's got a caramel aftertaste to it, that sweetness, that's a Muppet pairing, obviously. I mean, sure, there's a variety of Muppet characters, but even some of the most acerbic, even some of the most difficult Muppets to deal with, once they're confronted with the reality of how their behavior affects people around them, they all turn sweet. This is an obvious Muppet pairing. Vienna style lager with caramel afternotes. Muppet Christmas Carol. This has been the No Flim Flam Film Fan, signing out.